Hey boys, so we are almost done. We're gonna get into the guts of the airboats now. So I got everything taped up, everything's nice and sealed, and got the flaps put on, got them taped on. Same way that I did the hinges I showed you guys. I kind of modified it, but it's the same thing. So get the hinges on, and where's the cover? Got the cover made up, and the way I did that was I wrapped it all with clear tape first, and then I just put a bunch of strips of the colored tape over it, and then just kind of wrapped it over the end here. And then just use regular old Scotch tape and kind of ran a strip of Scotch tape all the way around it to kind of help it not come undone. So then the last step will be to put double-sided tape all around here, and then kind of unsticky it, kind of stick it to your shirt or your pants, get it just a little unstuck, because you don't want to stick it on there and not be able to get it off. That'd be no bueno. Okay, so that's the hatch. Alright, so before we get too involved in the internals of this, I want to show you the alpha, basically the prototype internals. So this is the speed controller. Basically this is what controls your motor and how fast it goes. This goes to the battery. This is a XT60 connector. It's a specific connector. And Paul, you're going to want to get online and YouTube search how to solder XT60 connectors. Watch a few of those, and once you watch a few of them, you realize that they can be really easy. But I did it without watching a YouTube video, and I messed a few of them up. So YouTube's your friend. This wire out here is going to the receiver. That's the control wire right there. And this big clunky thing that I have in here, that's the receiver. That is an FM receiver. That's old school. Basically, when your dad and I were kids, that was the way they came. This is the new receiver. It's super tiny. These are 2.4 gigahertz. It's basically the technology that they use is 2.4 gigahertz. This uses an FM technology. New, old. You want new. And hopefully that receiver will come with your radio. Now these three wires here, these black ones coming out the back that have no order whatsoever, go back to your motor. Now notice there's a connection right here going to three wires. The connector on this speed controller and the connecting wires on the motor are not long enough to go all the way between the two, so you have to patch three wires in between, and your dad will have to do that for you. I would suggest using connectors, but you could solder them solid if you want. I'm not going to show you too many of the real details, because at this point I think your dad can probably figure out the rest of it. So this is what your motor looks like. This one's got the prop on it, but the motor has three connectors coming out of it, and again, see, there's no red, white, blue, or anything. They're all black. So the reason for that is basically there's no way you can mess this up. If you push forward on your receiver or your controller, you can either reverse the direction on your controller or just come back here and start swapping wires until it turns the right direction. That's how that works. Okay, now what I will be showing you is the servo, for one thing. Oh, another thing, on these wires, what I did is I drilled a hole through the cabin here, basically in line with this fin, and then drilled a hole right here. You can just poke that through with the screwdriver too, that's no big deal. But once you get the wires fished through there, Dad's going to have to help you with that. once you get that fish through there, you want to hit it with some hot glue to kind of seal it up, okay? Especially these here. These aren't too big of a deal because that's inside, but you want to hot glue these so they seal up nice and good because that gets pretty wet. Alright, so I'm going to be showing you how to get your servo put in there, fixed down, and then running this control wire, or the control sleeve, back to your fins. Now if you notice, on the first prototype I had one of the red control sleeves coming out here, and it kind of did this back to here. I found out that put a lot of stress and strain on that control sleeve. This is a lot easier and frankly a lot simpler. Alright, so let's get to it. The first thing you want to do is find your control arm for your servo. And I use this one just because it gives you the most options. And then I'm going to cut half of it off. Put your man pants on. There you go. Okay, the reason you're doing that is because when you put this, you fix it down to the bottom of your boat, there's no room for the other half of your arm to turn. Okay? So I'll leave that for now. And the way I fix these down to the bottom of the boat is I put some Velcro on here in the bottom of the boat, and then I zip tie it down, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now I like to have my control arm back here. On the first one I had the servo turn this way, but I don't like that because if you want to kind of mess with your control arm after you got it in there, you really can't. You got to take it out. So I'm going to turn it over like this time, and instead of coming like out here for your flap, I'm going to come in through here on the inside. So it'll be a little easier, I think, hopefully. Alright, so first things first, I cut some Velcro already, some Velcro strips. So I'm going to put this Velcro on here, on the servo, and on the bottom of the boat. Maybe I should have done this before. Okay, so here's the servo. You want to make sure you put it on the right side too. So you want it to be like that when it's sticking down to the bottom of the boat. I'm going to trim this off a little bit. Tight. I want to make sure it's nice and clean in there where we're going to put the other side of the Velcro. And the easy way to do this is just put your servo in there where you're going to want it, make some marks. That way you don't put it where you don't need it. Come on. Okay, stick it down nice and good. So, be able to stick your servo in there. See? That's going to keep it from not moving too much. Now what I do, because I had issues with the servo moving, was I strapped it down as well with a zip tie. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make a little mark. Darn it. That's about where it needs to be. Okay. So when I have that mark, I'm not going to cut it on the countertop. I'm going to just pierce through the body. Okay, so when you do that, you'll see on the bottom where that piercing came through. And you got to think about how this zip tie is going to be. You're going to want the zip tie honestly to be facing up like this, so that when you bring it around you can just whoop, zip it through there. Alright, so I'm going to stick it through right now. And I'm going to take a look at where this other incision has to be. We'll mark that. This is really what's going to hold your servo. Slip it through there. Okay. Push that baby in there. And I am going to leave this for now. So I don't want to put that in solid yet until I get my control arm in there. So the next step, we'll take a look at how to run the sleeve through here, and also your receiver straw. All right, next time.